Hey there, it's Sarah again. This is my fourth video done today, I think. Yeah, fourth video of the day. I had to check to see how many books that I have reviewed already. So, if you don't know, I am going through and talking about all the books that I read in my Intro to Fiction class. We read a whole bunch of short stories, and then we read Catcher in the Rye, and then Peace Like a River, and then the third novel that we read was The Samurai's Garden by Gail Tsukiyama. I think I said her name right, but I know I said Gail right, but I think it's Tsukiyama. Let me get my notes over here. Okay, yeah, like I said, for each book, I've said this in my Catcher in the Rye video, but for each book, I was required to write 5 journals about what I thought of the book. So the camera's backwards from what I think. Yeah, so Samurai Journal number 1. The book was written in seasons, so like they didn't have chapter names. They had like these really cool little pictures for each one. So autumn. And okay, so in that time, the whole world was recovering from the Depression, and the world was at war. For those of you that don't know, World War II was going on, and it was set in Japan. But even though the war was going on, there weren't many references to the war. The main character is Stephen is the main character. Or Stefan. I'm not exactly sure because it's spelled like it could be either one. Stephen or Stefan. You pick if you read the book. I'm gonna go with Stephen. Anyway, it's about Stephen. He has tuberculosis. He lives in China. And they send him to Japan to his grandfather's beach house. His grandfather's passed away, but there's still a housekeeper there named Matsu. And he moves to Japan so that he can have clearer air to breathe. And so he can kind of heal from tuberculosis. Or he can try and get as healthy as he can. Yeah, so he goes to Japan. Everyone knows that he's Chinese because they can tell the difference. All the Japanese people knew that he was Chinese just by looking at him. But they didn't give him any trouble for it. The only person that gave him trouble was he falls in love with this girl named Keiko, and her father doesn't approve, and so they aren't allowed to see each other. And they kind of sneak off a little bit to see each other, but then she's kind of like, oh, we kind of have to end this because it's not okay. And then he has to go back to China before, they can get back together again. So that's kind of sad. But it's kind of how it goes sometimes. Yeah, so Matsu is like a fantastic guy. He is the one that has the garden, and even though he's not a samurai, in class we discussed that, he acts a lot like a samurai, not like the whole, kind of like fighter person, but he is like one of the most humble people ever, and he takes care of other people. There's this little city called Yamaguchi, and it's not too far away from where the house is. Anyway, and there's this woman named Sachi, and she is so nice. All the people in Yamaguchi have diseases that nobody wants. I mean, I know that no one really wants diseases, but like Sachi, she has leprosy. And so when she was young, all the people who had leprosy killed themselves. And, well, I guess not all, but a lot of the people killed themselves. I know it's in Japanese culture to, you're more likely to kill yourself if you've kind of, shamed your family. I personally don't understand that. But and I know that maybe it's not the same way now, but at least then, you know, it was a dishonor if you didn't kill yourself. And so she moved to Yamaguchi when, like, Matsu helped her, you know, build a house and everything. And his sister, I can't remember her name, but anyway, his sister, my gosh, his sister had leprosy, and she killed herself. And his sister and Sachi were friends, and so he wanted to save her life, and they fall in love, and yeah. I guess I'll just read the back of the book, like I did for Peace River, if you watched that video. Critics nationwide have praised Gail Tsukiyama for her vivid characters and crystalline prose. They have acclaimed the exquisite beauty of her serene settings, but more than anything, readers have celebrated finding themselves in the hands of a strong storyteller with the wisdom and warm heart of an ancient soul. On the eve of the Second World War, a Chinese man is sent to his family's summer home in Japan to recover from tuberculosis. He will rest, swim in the salubrious sea, and paint in the brilliant shoreside light. I don't like reading because, well, reading out loud. I like reading, but I don't like reading out loud because I don't do it well. It will be quiet and solitary, but he meets four local residents, a beautiful Japanese girl, and 3 older people. What then ensues is a tale that readers will find at once classical yet utterly unique. Young Stephen has his own adventure, but it is the unfolding story of Matsu, Sachi, and Kenzo that seizes your attention and will stay with you forever. Tsukiyama, with lines as clean, simple, telling, and dazzling as the best of Oriental art, has created a small, moving masterpiece. Oh yeah, Stephen is an artist. He paints. From what I can get from the story, he's a really good painter. And he loves to paint. And his grandfather loved to paint as well. So I don't think he knows that until he moves to the house, and he finds that out. And so he was like, oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I think this was one of my favorite books. Even though the war is going on and everything, the entire book is so soothing. Like, you kind of feel like you're in a meditative state, like, the entire time. It's really weird. Yeah, but if you want to read this book again, I give it a thumbs up. It is a good one. So, The Samurai's Garden by Gail Tsukiyama. See you in the next video. Bye!